The next part of the exercise, we're going to calculate the total air tickets sold, total hotel revenues, the total rail tickets sold, and grand total revenues. And they will appear down here on this row. Okay, you'll see there's a total line here. Now, we could use the plus operator to calculate the totals, but in this part of the exercise, we're going to learn a different technique. We're going to use something called a function. Now, a function is just a formula. The only difference is that it has a name and it's been written for you ahead of time. So let's see what a function looks like. To add a group of numbers in Excel, the function that we're going to use is called sum. S-U-M for mother. Now, the first symbol we need to type into the formula is also the equal sign, right? And then we're going to type the name of the function, which is sum. Now, as a convention, we use uppercase for function names. Okay. Now, if you notice, the minute I type the uppercase S, I already see a drop-down list here, so it saves me from having to type the whole function name. I could actually just scroll down here and look for the function I want, which is sum, and I could just double-click, and it will fill it in for me. So that saves me some typing right there. And another thing that the autocomplete function has done for me is to enter a open parenthesis, because that's how you write functions. The name of the function followed by the open parenthesis, followed by a list of all the arguments or inputs that you want to provide to the function. Inputs are simply, what the function needs to process. In our case, we want to calculate the total air tickets. And the arguments will be the cell references that contain the air tickets that we want to add. So I use my mouse to click on B5, okay, and there you'll see a line of marching ants around it. Then, without letting go of the mouse, of the left button on the mouse, I drag it down all the way to B9, and then I let go. So now you have a line of marching ants around B5 to B9. And Excel has also automatically filled in the arguments to the sum function for us as a result of the actions we did with the mouse. So now you'll see it entered B5 colon B9. This is the argument to the sum function. We're telling the sum function to take the values from cells B5, B6, B7, B8, and B9 and then add them. Okay, and we didn't have to enter all the cell references. We just had to enter the first and the last cell reference in the group, which is B5 and B9. And in between, we have to enter a colon symbol. That's how you provide the cell references for a group of cells, which is called a range. And when you're done, you just enter the closing parenthesis, and that's our function. That's the function for calculating the total air tickets sold. And since we're finished, we press enter and we see the result, which is 1,799. So this is the sum function. Now we're going to do the next formula, which is to calculate the average air tickets sold. Again, if we wanted to do average air tickets sold, we could simply do, B5 plus B6 plus B7 plus B8 plus B9, and then divide the answer by 5. That would be the average air tickets sold because we have 5 salespeople. But we're going to use a function now, and this one is called average. So again, equal, and then average. Oops, okay. We want to enter the function name in uppercase, so uppercase A. So once again, I see a drop-down list here. I can just double-click average, so I don't have to type the whole thing. And I do the same thing. I click on B5, okay, and pressing down on the left button of the mouse, I drag it all the way down to B9. I let go, and there you see it also filled in B5 colon B9 for me. Close parenthesis, and press enter, and that's the average air tickets sold. Now I want to calculate the highest air tickets sold. For this one, the function I need is called max. So I type M, and I can select it from here. Same thing, max B5 colon B9, close parenthesis. Okay, the highest is 473, that's by Bob Cook. And the lowest is minimum, MIN, open parenthesis, B5 to B9, close parenthesis. and the lowest is 223. So here are the 4 functions I've just entered. And the good news is I can copy them all at once to hotel revenues, rail tickets sold, and total revenues. So I'm going to select these 4 formulas, and then down here you have a solid black box. I point my mouse to it until the cursor changes to a crosshair, and I can just drag it. Okay, drag it 3 columns to the right, and I let go. Okay, and because of Excel's capability to copy formulas, okay, you could double click and see that everything has been copied, and all the cell references have also adjusted. So here you can also see the effect of copying formulas. Right now the formula in B11 is average of B5 colon B9, but when it was copied to C11 it became average of C5 colon C9. And again, this is Excel's behavior. If you copy a formula to a new column or to a new cell, the column reference and the row reference will adjust unless you put a $sign in front of the row or in front of the column reference. We didn't put any $sign, so all our references adjusted, but that's exactly what we want. So we're finished with calculating total, average, highest, and lowest for these 4 columns.